How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Cobra Kai Studios. And in today's video, we're going to do a live reaction to the new video that BuzzFeed posted yesterday called "The Cast of Cobra Kai Answer Your Burning Questions." That is the video. Yes, I know it's flipped, so you won't be able to read it. But anyways, I'm going to include the link of their, to this video in my description, so you can check it out yourself and kind of let me know what your input is on it. But let's get started. Let's see what this is about. Obviously, it starts with introducing who the cast is. Do you think that we're going to have any interesting questions that they're actually going to answer? I mean, in most cases, I would assume we're not going to get any, huge details, because they're going to want to wait until Season 3 is actually out to talk about anything, because they don't want to spoil too much. But they've already said there's going to be some spoilers, possibly, for Season 3. So what can you tease about Tori, Robbie, and Sam's relationship? They're talking about how they love drama. Yeah, drama brings things to the show. What's your opinion on drama? Do you like the drama in this show so far that they've included, or do you expect that there's going to be some more interesting drama moving on to the future videos? Well, I don't know. I wish I could include this so we could do like a little side-by-side clip, but I just don't want to get copyright strikes. But shout out BuzzFeed for posting the video, regardless, and I will include the description in the link so that way people can check out the video and kind of give yourself feedback to what I'm talking about so you can watch it. Now, I would say you can watch it with me as I'm watching it, but you'd have to have two phones like I do to be able to do that, so hoping we get some kind of interesting detail in there. So far, they're just kind of talking about things that we already know, let's be honest. So far, who's your favorite cast member in the show? Mine, like I've said before, is Miguel. Closely followed up by Johnny. Johnny would be my second favorite cast member. I like them two a lot in the show. I like their connection that them two have from the very first episode. It's just something that is very relatable to the original Karate Kid movies. So that's something I like. I'm talking about the whole Sam and Tori, who's going to be with Miguel moving forward. Obviously, they're not really hinting at too much about it. They're just kind of talking about it. Me personally, I think Tori and Miguel should remain together over Sam and Miguel, but there's a lot of speculation that it's going to end up being Sam and Miguel that actually end up being together. Go figure. Yes, the Season 2 cliffhanger. Miguel's talking about it. Okay, go on. They say the short answer is that we're going to find out early into Season 3 if Miguel is going to be alive. Obviously, we figured that. But he talked about, will he be able to fight moving forward? And he said that's something we'll have to wait and see. I figured they're not going to spoil that. Obviously, there's something to that they want to really surprise us with. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm talking about how Robbie needs a nemesis to fight. I agree. Obviously, that you would think that, I don't know. Who do you think that Robbie might have other conflicts with? I could see him having conflicts with Hawk as well, as not just Miguel, but obviously Miguel is the biggest person that he has conflict with so far. Talking about how Netflix has actually had Cobra Kai in the top 10 for weeks now, which is awesome. That's a really good thing for the show. That is exciting to know that this show is getting a huge amount of audience coming to join the Cobra Kai community, or getting interested in the show, learning that the movies are not the only thing that exist anymore. What do you think? Definitely watch this interview and then come back and leave comments, because I want to know what you think about this interview and what they talk about. This is where I wish I could include the interview in my video, but as I said, I don't want a copyright strike or the video to be removed, and doing it the way I think will be safe. Obviously, we're doing it different because none of y'all have actually seen me talk in the videos. It's always just me behind the voiceovers, but I wanted to do this one different. So, yeah, hopefully y'all enjoy. There'll be more of these to come as I figure out how to actually do this. Now, talking about how the fan base is grown so huge since it went on Netflix, which is not a lie. There has been so many people coming to join the community since Netflix has released it and added it to their lineup. They're talking about what we can expect that between Sam and Tori as the season 3 rivalry. How is that going to continue to build, and what else can we expect to see from that? Talking about if Sam and Tori will become friends. I don't know that they'll ever become friends, because I feel like that drama is something that they want to keep as part of the show. They want to have certain rivalries between people. Obviously, there's going to be the Robbie and Miguel. There's the Hawk and Dimitri. There's Johnny and Daniel. There's Sam and Tori. But at the same time, I guess one of those could end up being concluded, and they could end up being friends, and I could see that being Sam and Tori, honestly. Just my opinion. What do you think? You think that Sam and Tori will ever be a friendship? Maybe. I mean, especially with Robinson being discluded from the seasons moving forward, maybe she might. She's going to want a friend, and if Aisha's not going to be her friend anymore because she's not in the series, then that could be a possibility, honestly. It really could. So it's kind of interesting to think about that. That's funny. They're talking about how long the Mohawk and tattoo applications take for Hawk for each episode that they film, and he said that the Mohawk takes about an hour. That's a long time. And then he said the tattoo used to take 45 minutes, but they've gotten quicker at it, and it only takes about 26 minutes. That's really interesting that the Mohawk takes longer than the tattoo. Talking about at the end of season 2 that Johnny and Daniel seem to appreciate each other a little more, and they're talking about will them two ever become friends or team up in some way, which we've talked about too on our fan question. That's all that is, the burning question, isn't it? Said there is a chance that they could find a way to team up in a sense, but they can't get out of their own heads of their own morals against each other. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's like a hint in some way that we might see them team up, even if it's just for the slightest bit of teaming up. What do you think? They asked if any of them kept anything from the set, as in like pieces or something along that lines. Apparently, Sam did, and so did Jacob, aka Hawk. If I was on one of those shows, I would definitely try to keep something from the sets too, as a memorabilia piece. And I love having things to look back on. I would for sure keep something from the set. Hawk said he found a random gear in the junkyard scene that he decided to keep, which is kind of funny. I could see myself doing something else along that lines too, is just finding something really random to keep, because I'm a random person like that. So, I mean, as you can tell, I just have random things in my background that I collect. I collect cards of all sorts. I have a memorial thing from my dog that passed away up here. Random. What were the toughest stunts they had to film from the show? Tori says her hardest one was the initial fight, not the school fight. Said she didn't have as much time to prepare for it, so she was nervous and kind of just had to jump into it. Sam says the most difficult physically was in the school fight, which I can understand. That was a lot to choreograph in a matter of 4 days that they had to just kind of put together and bring it all into conclusion. And with such a short amount of time to film it, there's a lot of less time for trial and error. You kind of just have to hope that it all comes together, and it did. It really did. Which I'm going to talk about another interview video where they talk about the fight. And there's a couple of slip-ups that are left in the show, including how Sam had her hand hurt, and in a couple of the scenes you can see her fingers are taped. It's kind of interesting. Little Easter eggs they left in, huh? And she's talking about how she missed certain things that were supposed to be choreographed into the fight scene at the end of the school fight. And she's talking about how she made errors, and she talks about how everybody else, she says, did so perfect, but then she watches herself and she thinks it's so cringe because she missed things. Things like that would happen, honestly. You can't avoid them at all costs, so it's kind of interesting. I imagine that would be really fun and hard at the same time to have to be in that position, to be able to just I don't know, it would be weird. It would be interesting to actually sit there and be a part of the stunt coordination team, be a part of the cast, and have to kind of bring all of the scenes together into one. And especially the way they did it, they were explaining that basically certain cast members would have to hide behind the camera as they were going and allow the stunt team to come in and sneak in and do this, take the hits, and then the actual cast members would have to sneak back in without being seen. And that has to take a lot of practice and work to just be able to do that with no problems, honestly. We're talking about the forest scene, how it was really extremely cold, wet, and slippery. Oh my god, that would have been a pain to do. I could just imagine that would have been a pain to film. In general, when it's cold and trying to do martial arts, if you're not already really warmed up, and even if you are, cold sucks when you're doing that. I remember practicing martial arts in the freezing cold all the time, and it's not a lot of fun, especially when you hit things in certain ways that you weren't expecting. It just feels like it hurts 1,000 times worse. Then again, I don't like doing it in the summer either. It's too damn hot. Talking about Johnny and Robbie's starting to connect more coming towards the end of season 2, which I agree. And I feel like Robbie's going to turn to his dad, especially in the beginning of season 3. I could expect that 100% to see him turn towards his dad and need someone such as, I don't know if you'd say for guidance purposes, but he's going to need someone to kind of turn to and figure out where to go from there. And I could see Johnny being the perfect person for that. Obviously, he's his dad, and I know they don't have the best connection, but that's an interesting little hint that they kind of threw in there. Which kind of answered some speculations that I assumed moving forward that we would indeed see Johnny and Robbie reconnect. What do you think about that? He's talking about how Johnny wanted to bring Robbie into Cobra Kai. Obviously, I mean, if he's his dad, obviously he would want to train his own son and not have Daniel training him, his rival. I mean, think about it. Would you? I can't wait to see season 3. At the same time, I love these little teasers and hints, but in another sense, I'm like, oh my god, why didn't we have season 3 this year? We so could have used season 3 this year, but then there's the whole, if we had season 3 this year, then we'd be sitting here done waiting on season 4 already, and they ain't even started filming it, so that'd be even more torture in my opinion. At least we know season 3 is filmed, it's gonna happen, we will indeed see it. Season 4, we don't know when they're even gonna start filming it yet, so we don't know when to expect that we're gonna actually have that to watch. It's really interesting that BuzzFeed did this and got all the cast together. I really enjoy this. There's not really too much, I'd say, spoilers or answers to too many questions, which I expected because they're not going to spoil what they have built up for season 3, but they're keeping the fire burning, I guess you could say, and keeping the interest there. So that's kind of interesting nonetheless. I'm really curious where Johnny is going to lead moving forward, especially because they kind of just hint that there's going to be some conflict at the beginning with Johnny and his own like mental mindset. So that makes me wonder what all we're going to see Johnny go through before he really gets back on track, I guess you could say. What do you think? I'm talking about the whole father-son relationship that they're trying to build in the show between Johnny and Robbie. Oh, they're talking about if we can they're talking about if we will see any more Karate Kid cameos, and they all said they plead the fifth. Obviously we're gonna see more. There's no way around it, so obviously they want to brush that question off. They're not gonna really talk too much about that, sadly. But they said not in ways that we'd expect. I wonder what that means. Ooh, so they're talking about that we are going to learn more about Tori's background. They did confirm that, as well as other characters. So that's exciting. And insight on Sam as well. More about Sam. So we're going to learn more about Sam, more about her past, more about Tori. That's exciting. See, it says, even Tori says, the person that plays Tori, Peyton, says that whenever you see Tori in season 3, you get to learn more about her past and background and history, and that she's excited to get to explain that. So that's going to be exciting. Maybe we'll get the answers that everybody wants to know. Who's her dad? Who's her mom? That's going to be exciting. They ask, are you team Cobra Kai or Miyagi-Do? Obviously, Mary, aka Sam, is Miyagi-Do. Tori's obviously Cobra Kai. Jacob, aka Hawk, is obviously Cobra Kai. My debate is who's Miguel and Robbie, though. Will Robbie going to remain Miyagi-Do? Is Miguel going to remain Cobra Kai? I don't know. I could honestly see, like I've said before, I don't think Miguel is going to stay Cobra Kai. I just don't have that feeling. But in a sense, I could see why they would remain in keeping him Cobra Kai, though. So that could be way wrong. But what is your opinion on that? Sam's talking about how if she was in a real life aspect of seeing like Cobra Kai being like presented as like in a school demonstration or something, that she could see herself wanting to have joined that dojo. And I can understand because the hype is there. They hype up Cobra Kai. I mean, every time you see them doing like a demonstration and such, they're really excited, have a lot of energy, a lot of positive motivation that just makes you want to join them. I mean, I would probably be the same, honestly, until actually being trained by someone like Kreese, and then I would have a huge problem and I wouldn't be a part of that, because, no. I'm just not, I wouldn't be a part of that. What would you? I would be more Miyagi-Do in that sense, 100%. They're talking about how when, because Peyton, I guess, knew Jacob behind the scenes before Cobra Kai, and she was mentioning how Jacob would talk about Cobra Kai, and she says that he is 100% seemed like he was way too into Cobra Kai. That's funny to know. But it makes sense, because if you want to play a good role in a movie or TV show, you want to really get into that role. You want to really become that person that you're portraying on film. So I really understand that, though. Talking about what it's like to have a total new generation of fans between William Zabka and Ralph. About, because obviously they're movies from the 80s, and now we're in a whole nother generation, 30 years plus later, with a whole new amount of audience that's kids up to young adults, up to adults that actually enjoyed the Karate Kid series. So that is interesting. I bet that is interesting. Especially now with it being on Netflix. The amount of people that know about Cobra Kai now is a huge amount of numbers compared to what it was even just last year. So it's really exciting to see what we have in store for us, or see what they have in store for us moving forward with Cobra Kai. I feel like, especially being on Netflix, they really have more of an opportunity to actually go to season 6 or even further than that. So I hope that we get, honestly, I would love if we got 10 seasons at least. I feel like 10 seasons is like a good number for any show to make it to. But if they ended at season 6, I guess can't really complain. I just really hope that they don't do another spin-off in a sense. I feel like after Cobra Kai is over, I feel like that should probably be the end. Now, you might disagree on that, but I just feel like we don't need another spin-off leading on to something else. I feel like where they've took Cobra Kai as of now is a perfect place for it to be. And I feel like it shouldn't be spun off in another way. Plus, that them watching Cobra Kai and never watched the Karate Kid, it's going to bring people to go watch Karate Kid, because they're going to be interested to wonder where this show even came from and why it's such a big deal. So that's exciting to see. We're going to have a lot of people that are interested in Cobra Kai that have never seen the Karate Kid. Or at least maybe not the older one. We won't mention that other one. That one's not to talk about. It's not worth the time. If you're a fan of it, sorry. I'm just not the biggest fan of that. So that's the end of the interview. I want to say they don't really talk too much, and they don't really answer too many questions nonetheless, but at the same time, I knew this going into watching the interview. This is my first time watching it, so it was to be expected, in my opinion, because they're not going to release too many details that are going to spoil the show. So they talked about some things that we can expect, including the whole, you know, we're going to learn about some of the cast members' backgrounds, which I'm happy that we're going to get to learn that. But at the same time, I wish we got a little bit more. They could have told us a little more. Why can't they tell us what we want to hear? Just kidding, I know that was to be expected. So that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please go check out the BuzzFeed interview for yourself so you can kind of see if you haven't already. And if you have, then drop some comments and let me know what you think. What did you expect for them to talk about? I was hoping that they would go in a little more detail of certain things, but they didn't. So, as always, I want to thank Bonsai Kai Dojo. I want to thank all of you that are watching, my mods, my subscribers, you that's not subscribed yet that should be subscribed, and we'll see you on the next time. Stay badass, everyone.